Welcome to Great Talk and Entertainment. I'm your host, KJ, and this is the podcast where we review movies and TV shows from all your favorite superheroes, including Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and much more. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Great Talk and Entertainment official channel. Now let's go, baby. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast of Great Talk and Entertainment official channel. Now, this is episode 8 for the new Disney Plus series, Ahsoka, and this is the season finale. So, this is a spoiler review. So, yeah, I have not seen season 1 yet. Go watch the whole season. Check out all my spoiler reviews, plus this one. And I would love to hear your guys' comments and thoughts, how you feel about each episode or just the whole series in general. I just love to know. So, again, this is a spoiler review, so y'all been warned. Let's get into it. Episode 8 continues on showing Thrawn just preparing to leave and making sure he does not fail to escape. He explains that he learns from other people's pasts, his mistakes, and his. Throughout this episode, Thrawn shows us that he's willing to sacrifice anybody or anyone just to leave and go back to the main galaxy. The Night Sisters award Morgan Elsbeth with new power and the blade of Talzin, and that is a flaming green like Iker sword that is summoned from the Ether world. And this is kind of like a Darth Maul reference, and a couple other swords and blades like that. I think it was like that the lightsaber that's like it looks like a sword from the Mandalorian. It's kind of similar to how that is. So that's what that Talzin blade is. But Morgan is she'd be like the third person so far in Star Wars. I mean, there's probably more, I believe, but I believe like she's one of the, because there's only 3 that like people know from the Clone Wars and Rebels who held that sword, but she'd be like the third one so far from people actually seeing in, whether it's like live action or the animation series. So, because I know obviously in comic books and the book and like novelty books, they explain about a lot of more other people who held that blade. Now in the next scene, we see Ezra and Yuang kind of just bickering about how to build a proper lightsaber, and then we learn from that Ezra's master who trained him was Kanan Jarrus, who was also, we learned, that was taught and trained by Yuang, and they all seem shocked, but Yuang said something very nice where he said he understands how Ezra acts and is because of him. And it was just a very heartwarming moment. And we also saw like a little jealousy with Sabin, the way Ezra made that comment, like, hey, has Ahsoka teach you this and that? And, you know, she didn't get that. And Ezra never knew that about the Mandalorian planning getting ambushed by the Empire, and Ahsoka was afraid that she would, turn Sith after she learned how to be a Jedi and take out everybody for killing, the Mandalorians and stuff. So it was very tragic, but we see them all just kind of finding peace and closure and learning more things about each other to team up to stop Thrawn, because I think that was all very important for all 3, was to literally stop Thrawn. And they knew they needed to work as a team, so them just finding closure and just trying to understand each other's feelings and being more supportive. And we see that through that. And there was a lot of heartwelling dialogue throughout that scene as they're getting ready to prepare to battle against Thrawn and his whole little army over there, where we see that Thrawn is very well planned. Like, he knows what he's going to do and how he's going to make sure the Jedis cannot get to him. And as they're preparing, like I said, Thrawn already gets them ambushed by these fighters, and they just wrecked their ship. That Sabin had to hit the ship with their own ship, and it crashed. But they shot like the engines of it first, so Thrawn was already on it, like, because he understands that Ahsoka's is literally trained by Anakin, and he fears Anakin, and he knows Anakin. He knows how good he is and how smart and tactical he is. So he had to make it sure it was very challenging for them, especially Ahsoka, to not get to Thrawn. So Thrawn, through this whole episode, it was not really like Thrawn never cared if he murdered them or killed them, right? He just cared about leaving this galaxy to go back to the main one. So his whole idea, like, he was like, look, I don't care if they live or die, like, they're just not gonna stop me leaving. And that's what you see, because he does that. He sends stormtroopers on foot. I mean, we even get like giant explosions while they're trying to get to the main front door. And this is what, he was doing everything he can. Even did the thing where I had a theory about these stormtroopers, where I said on the last episode, where I said that I think the stormtroopers are like zombie likes, and what they do, the stormtroopers turn into zombies by the Night Sisters, even made them stronger. But it leads to kind of the question, like, I wonder how many times has Thrawn had the Night Sisters do this procedure? How many times? Like, I would love to know the story of that, of like what he was doing the whole time before Ahsoka and Sabrin decided to find a way to get to him, But it's very interesting. Like again, they were a lot stronger, and it was very Halloween theme like. But I was just curious, and it kind of answered my questions. I think these do bite, but I don't know if this affects them like a zombie effect. Like if you get by a zombie, you turn into a zombie type thing. But they kind of teased it where Sabrin was about to like get choked out, but the zombie trooper never like went and bit her. I mean, yeah, it was probably for that because she got her lightsaber and she finally understood the Force and shanked the dude. But it was just one of those things where they're kind of teasing like the idea of like somebody got zombified. So I wonder who it was on that planet in that galaxy, which it's just more questions, but we'll get to that one later. And even that, they finally get to all that. And Ezra's the only one who got on the ship because it was really cool as none of the three talked about it or decided. They kind of just figured whatever is going to happen. And I'm sure Ezra wanted them both, but Sabrin gambled on Ahsoka and they were kind of stuck. Like they tried, they got on the ship and they defeated Morgan, but Thrawn got out. He even like made fun of her, kind of like called her up and said, yeah, you tried. I knew that Anakin trained you, and I knew that if I challenged you, you'd fail in a way, like had to give her some couple of challenges. Because, earlier in the episode, he's like, there's no like negotiation with, stopping Ahsoka. Like, we got to stop her. He knew, like, he's scared, but he was just rubbing it in her face, and they escaped. So, even that, but at least Ezra made it back to General Syndulla, and they had their heartwarming reunion, and then that was it. And that episode, basically, but there was other things that we're going to talk about in this topic, but the one thing I did like about this episode is they didn't kill off this character like they normally do in Star Wars. So they're keeping Thrawn like alive. And he's gonna like be like, I think before I tell you who I'm gonna bring on my theory, but I think Thrawn is like Age of Ultron level type villain. I think he can be defeated, but it's not the person who you think's gonna defeat Thrawn. Like it might be Ezra, but it might not. It might be somebody who else, because Thrawn's gonna go to war now. Shit's about to hit the fan, but it's one of those things where it's on the cliffhanger, obviously, but I like the idea of they're keeping Thrawn just a little bit longer. So this makes this character even more important And this is a character you need to look out for the next Star Wars special on Disney Plus or the movies. But there is some. He has a plan, and they got something big. They got a big story coming up. So it could be a lot, but that's the main thing I like about this episode in this series is Thrawn lived. Like to me, this is a character that's got so much story arc that they never told or have told yet in a live action. But this is their chance, and I think they're going to do the best they can. But this is really exciting. Like I was literally hoping like Thrawn would make it through this season, and he did. And I just happy about that. The second thing, most important and all, I just really like this is a great Jedi story for a Star Wars series. And I think Ahsoka is one of my favorite characters besides Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader / Darth Vader, I should say. But it's a really cool. I really like this character, Ahsoka. And I really do hope for a season 2 with this because, man, I think there's more to her story that I would love to see in a live action. So let's get in the first topic. Baylan Skoll, and he was played by the actor Ray Stevens, who passed away recently, I believe. And so with that, I understand why that scene in episode 8 seemed kind of off. But it had a lot of clues and guesses of what could be happening. And to me, that actor, he did a wonderful job, and I wish he was still around. Like, that was one of my favorite characters on this whole show, was that him. I just really liked the way he performed. I liked the way of the Jedi he portrayed himself. I thought it was really cool. So, I'm not going to get too much on him, but RIP to Ray Stevens. The next topic is Anakin's ghost. So, we know at the end, Ahsoka and Sabin just could not get back to the main galaxy. And what I think they're going to have to wait for some Purgils to come back, and they don't know when or how long, but obviously they're kind of using like whales, like a whale, the way a real, like whales, how actual whales travel and breed and habitat, like stay in one spot for a long time, like sleep or whatever. So it has that. So I'm just curious about, will this take them back to the main galaxy or to another galaxy? That'd be very interesting to see. But back to Anakin's ghost, I think what's crazy is the way that this goes in Star Wars. So the Force ghost thing is about them doing one more lesson to find closure, to find peace, and go away back to the above or beyond, the other side of death, basically, like a ghost, right? But it seems like Anakin's like Force Ghost has a lot of chapters that need to be closed, and it seems like this Force Ghost Anakin is staying around too, which I'm happy, I'm okay with. But it seems like there's a lot that Ahsoka has to come to terms to, and she's trapped. Like, she has all the time in the world, and maybe there's some issues that she needs to even clarify more with Sabin. So that's why I think that they're going to keep that, or the Force Anakin, around, which again, now the next one is the Mortis gods. Now at the end of that episode, we see an owl, which is Morai, and this is what helped Ahsoka live, in a way. So this is, the Clone War fans probably went nuts. I know I did a little bit. But when you see Baylan Skoll on top of the statue, there was three things. There was the father, the son, and the daughter. Now, the father is the one that keeps the balance, keeps his son and daughter balance. The son controls the dark side, the daughter controls the light side. And these were seen, I think, in Clone Wars for sure. I know for Clone Wars. I'm not sure in Star Wars Rebel or Resistance. But it's very interesting now that they're putting this, because this is from the Star Wars Legend, which was considered never canon, but now they're making this canon. And it's nuts because these are like the three gods who run the Force, who literally created the Force, like that let there be light type things. Like these are gods. And there's been always a theory that the father is actually the actual father of Anakin Skywalker, aka Darth Vader. But I don't know if they would go that far with that. But they're here in the live action, so you never know. But this tells me that they got a big story coming for this Star Wars series or sagas. And I'm just curious what it was, because do we get to see them, or are they going to play them out as they long gone and passed away? But here's why it's important. So the daughter, and I believe this happened in Clone Wars, but the daughter of Mortis God, she gave up her life force to save Ahsoka's life. And the way she sees the owl Mori is because of the essential force was returned into a shape of an owl, or into an actual owl. So that owl kind of like follows Ahsoka like a guardian angel. And I thought that was very interesting that they're bringing this out. And I thought that was really cool and exciting because, again, I think this is their way of rebooting the Star Wars universe, the Star Wars saga, and retelling the whole Star Wars story again, but maybe a little bit different. That's what I really think, honestly, because the Morris gods can restart time, reset it, start over again, destroy one universe, bring another universe in. They can create life, they can destroy life. Simple as that. Because here's my theory. Here's my one theory. Why Baylan Skull's been saying something's been calling him ever since they got to this second galaxy. Well, I have to believe it's Abeloth. She is the mother of Mortis gods, and she's been like she's really powerful. And her story is she's the bringer of chaos. So she destroys things. She makes things go away. She likes destruction. So if anything's alive, she destroys it. And she was actually trapped by the father, the son, and the daughter, Mortis gods. And it seems like she's still alive, and she's calling out to Baylan Skull, which her ability can her power, I forget her power, but it can literally go across galaxies all over, far away, basically. Like she's really powerful. She's like Thanos. Like she's Thanos. So if Thrawn is Ultron, then Abathon is literally Thanos. Like she's the mother you don't want to mess with, and she's crazy. And a lot of people worship her, especially in the Empire. That's where, the Sith Lords come from, worshiping her. I mean, this is like, they tell tales and stories about this, and this is what the Sith are all about. It's what she wants. And to see that coming, I think she's gonna be self-destruction mode. So I really think there's got to be a possibility of a season 2 of Ahsoka. But again, if you're gonna bring a villain that powerful, you got to do it in the theaters. You got to make a Star Wars movie. But I don't know if they will, but I think they should. But that's a character they tease, but to see the Mortis gods be teased and shown in this episode is very interesting because these are powerful beings, and this is how that whole Star Wars universe that's their creators, that's their celestials basically. And for this again, I've been saying this throughout this whole recording, is there is a bigger story going to be told soon by Star Wars, and I'm really excited about this because this got a lot of potential. This whole series never really answered a lot of questions, but it gave us more questions to ask, like when, why, how, who. But this is probably like one of my favorite seasons, and obviously I knew they had to do this. I knew too because they left it on a cliffhanger. Because again, I think they may make a season 2 of this, and I think the show would be worth it because it's very popular, and I think a lot of people like this. So again, I've had to rate this whole season. I'm giving this whole season a 10. It had perfect story. It had a really good actors and actress. The plot made sense. It wasn't confusing, and they introduced new characters to people who like Star Wars but don't watch the cartoon, but gave them enough information to understand their backstory and to really connect with these characters and find more interest to want to know more about these characters if somebody as a casual fan would see you and want to learn more and go on the computer or their phone or whatever. But they did enough, and I thought that was very important because adding a lot of characters from the Clone Wars, again, a lot of people just watch Star Wars, but they didn't watch the cartoons like that, like the older ones. But again, that's how I feel about that. So if you're going to add those characters, you always got to keep it in mind that that's not a lot of people who do watch those cartoons, even though it's been out since forever now, but they still don't. So, and it's just people's preference. But again, I think they did really well in introducing all these characters like that, and to make it very easy and simple to understand and get the hang of it. Because again, this, from my point of view, is they skipped a lot and over-glanced a lot of things. But again, I feel like they made it very clear enough of who these characters are. So that's my second reason why I like that. And the last reason, obviously, I just like the cliffhanger of this. We know Thrawn's back. What's his plan? What's he about to do? And what did he bring with him back from that second galaxy? So, and I think it's, from the way they did those stormtrooper zombies, I think they're going to bring back some characters that you didn't think they were going to bring back, or some new characters from that galaxy that's probably from the Star Wars Legends, and they're going to bring them back as a zombified version. But that's what I think. But again, if I had to give this episode a 1 out of 10, I'm definitely giving it a 10 too. Great season finale. A lot of action, from in the sky to the lightsabers to just keep you on the edge of your seat. Like, this is really good, really intense. So I enjoy it. Thank you guys so much for checking this out, and be on the lookout for me reviewing episode 1 for Low Key season 2. And of course, it will be a spoiler, so watch that before you come listen to my little podcast of that review. But be on the lookout for the whole Low Key season 2 spoiler review. So thank you guys, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talk and Entertainment official channel. Thank you, and peace out.